Welcome back to Nortex Radio, episode 39. We've had a little break. We've been working on things. We're going to bring you some better content. And as you can tell, if you're watching, you will soon learn if you're listening. We've added to the addition. We got Mr. Lars to help us. So still follow the same teams, except for basketball, kind of a little Thunder guy, whatever. But your Stars content's about to get real fucking deep with Lars on here. Lars, tell everybody what's up, a little bit about you.
Hey guys, I'm Lars. I'm out of Oklahoma as well. A big DFW sports fan, have been forever, as long as I can remember, since watching the Cowboys as a kid. Always been a Cowboys fan, and then of course got into hockey, big Stars fan. You know, because we were at the peak in the '90s. You know, when I was really getting into sports. So 90s Stars, '90s Cowboys, so not much better. And then Rangers, of course, because of proximity. And I'm lived and died by the Rangers. Those World Series champs, years that we had the chance, I should say, back when I was in college, following those pretty heavy. So,
oh yeah,
big stuff. All the DFW sports, gets as many games as I can whenever I can, and just love talking Dallas sports.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just another brain in the fucking piece. So. We're going to produce a lot more content now. Got more eyes on more things. So it's about to get a whole lot better. We're about to take off real quick. But getting this episode started, little Cowboys. First thing I saw was the single shell is no more. NFL had the rule back in like 2012. Only one fucking helmet. Stupid as shit, my opinion. But now we get the throwbacks, we get the whites back, that beautiful white helmet, that blue star, Thanksgiving Day. I'm excited about it. But that's the first thing I saw for the Cowboys this week for me. But I don't know what y'all's take is on it. But I don't know why we fucking stopped. But that helmet is beautiful.
It's a good helmet. It's a tradition. It's Thanksgiving tradition. Like it just feels. It's gonna make the holiday just feel more legitimate, getting those helmets back. Just too many years, everything with that just kind of just being a staple, on television. So it's great to have that back, and then hopefully we'll get the matching jerseys to go with it, and should be good times. It's nice. I mean, I know a lot of other teams around the league are getting some alternate helmets as well. Those look pretty sweet, but it's hard to beat the whole Thanksgiving throwbacks, to me, in my opinion. So
yeah, you do feel the Thanksgiving on it. Like as a Cowboy fan, you see that helmet, you're like, hell yeah, Thanksgiving Day. Let me go stuff my fucking face. Like it's beautiful. It does scream it. What were you about to say?
Yeah,
Connor?
it's wild. It's wild to me with all the way that pro sports move nowadays. Like it's such a big deal to get an alternate helmet. Like it is also crazy to me. Like the last person that I remember wearing that was like Miles Austin, which is nuts. Like it's been that long.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Like
and,
that's pretty.
Yeah. And like the colleges are doing it every week. They're doing a different helmet.
Yeah. I think
the NFL does one throwback once a week. I mean, they really are just in love with their brand. And I get that. Like, I mean, NFL is just the money-making business is a brand. All these teams are just brands. And so they just kind of hold on to whatever's working there. It's minor tweaks. You're never going to get that kind of, jersey, revolution that, you're seeing in the college range that you see, like with, new threads and new material, that kind of stuff. Like the NFL, it's just all, I mean, look at our division rivals. Like, yeah. What the Commanders are doing, that took an entire rebrand to get new costumes, Yeah. Everything else has been the same for decades.
What blows my mind though is like you say, like they got a brand, they want to be proud of that brand. Like, but I mean, you look at other sports, you look at baseball, you look at the Yankees, the Cubs, the Red Sox, like they got their brand. That's what they rock. Year in, year out, nothing fucking changes. But for football, I mean, you can do the same. Like your Cowboys, your Niners, like they don't get too wild. We might have one throwback, but like if you look at a game, say whenever they were doing like alternates, they were doing helmets, like everything, your fans that love that shit, they're going to buy it. You throw that in the pro shop, you throw it online, they're going to buy it. So I don't know why, especially NFL, all they care about is the money. Why wouldn't you promote that? Like, all that is more money in the pocket. I can't believe I just said that, and I'm saying, hell yeah, make more money because they're assholes about it. But you put a new jersey online or in the pro shop, that shit's going to sell like fucking crazy, no matter what the team.
Yeah, for sure. And if you notice, I mean, the few teams that have been doing kind of the most radical jersey changes are the ones that, you know, have been at the bottom. Like the Jags have gone through multiple helmet changes, you know, in the past 5 years. Jerseys changed a lot more often. And the good, you kind of expect that from, you know, a team that's been so perpetually bad. But and like, I'm with you. Just, you know, you got those main brands, you know, like the Yankees and Red Sox. So, you know, those are, you know, for baseball, and the Cowboys like that for football, obviously. So yes, our stuff is iconic. But yeah, I mean, having a throwback, giving some other options to the fan. Like, it really is just to bring. My thing is, you want to grow the game, right?
Yeah.
You want to bring more people into the fold. You want to bring, you know, more jersey options. You know, you bring in, which, I mean, the NFL doesn't find it. The NBA does it a bunch. I mean, the NBA, I feel like the NBA is dropping a new city uniform every 2 weeks. You know, like just giving everyone something else to buy. And then it just gives you more options, you know, as far as, like some people may be drawn to the team, like, oh, I really like that jersey, or hey, I really liked, you know, that design that they're doing. You know, if you can grab more eyes with it, and especially younger eyes, I mean, it cannot hurt your brand at all.
And I think that's one thing that even, I mean, if we're talking jerseys, like baseball, they've been doing the City Connects or City Editions. Like, they're pretty cool, most of them. But like, and that is drawing younger fans into it. But I mean, also, especially like baseball, you got 162 games. I say, if you want to rock a throwback, anytime, whatever, you have 162 games, you could literally wear every jersey your team has ever wore and still have 130 games of your standard uniform that's like your official for that year. Like, right. I think baseball should wear them more often. But I love it. I mean, they're obviously, like, especially like your marquee names, like they have those staples, like, you know what that is. You see Yankee hats everywhere. Like, everybody knows that shit. That's cool, but especially if you are trying to grow the game, like, it's neat to see them change it up every once in a while, wear something different. Like, instead of the same shit day in, day out.
Yeah, the Stars really use that when they do their blackout jerseys. I mean, if you look at the games that they do the blackout jerseys they're at home and peak days and primetime games, right? So, like, if you're getting a Saturday night game on TNT, you're getting the blackout jersey.
Yeah.
So it's what's going to happen because people like it. It's new. It's different, you know, and you're getting, again, you're trying to draw in more people. I think a lot of the hang on, like, for the tradition is that, especially for, like, you know, the older, like, your execs, is that they don't want, if you keep the same uniform, then if your game is on TV, people know that you're playing, right? It's like the idea is that if I can just if I just walk into a bar and look up at the TV, I know if the Yankees are in that game because they got the pinstripes. Or they got the same look they've had for 50 years. Now, does that necessarily grow the game more? Yes and no, but, you know, if you're trying to get eyeballs, if you know that your brand is attracting people, and you keep your brand the same, you know, so that, you know, people are like, oh yeah, that's just the Yankees game. That's why everyone always says the Yankees game, right? If you're talking about, like, if you're like, oh, if you look at the TV, oh, what game is that? You're going to say the Yankees game, not whatever team they're playing, because that's the iconic jersey you grab onto.
Yeah.
But I do think with the NFL, the popularity of the NFL is just so much higher than every other league that you can get away with expanding that branding a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
And you're not losing any viewership. Like, the eyeballs will be there regardless, especially with fantasy football, especially with the Red Zone channel. You're going to get the eyeballs. So drawing more people. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying I want a radical change to the Cowboys jerseys because I've loved them since I was a child.
No, I agree right there. like, I love, and that, because, I mean, out of the 4 teams we got in DFW, I mean, that's the historical franchise that we have. So, like, I do love the iconic blue and silver, that we wear whites at home. Like, I love the way our uniforms go, but it is cool for us, like Thanksgiving, just that one. I don't want a radical change, but like that one throwback. But the other teams, it is cool from the outside perspective to see, what is it, like the Falcons, I guess, brought a throwback. But I mean, even the Panthers bringing a black helmet. The fucking Bengals white out. That's badass.
That's cool.
Like,
That's cool.
That's cool. Like, even from the outside, like being a Cowboy fan, like, damn, honestly, when that game's on, I'm going to be checking that out. Like, because that's badass.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
And that's how you grow the game. What else we got for the Cowboys? Well, we got training camp coming up.
Yeah, training camp about to start. I think we tagged Schultz, so cool.
He didn't get that fat ass contract he wanted.
He didn't, but I mean, all it does is kicks the can down the road a little bit.
It does.
So that should put him on a prove-it year, so that's good. I mean, and honestly, we may be relying on him a lot with our wideout depth kind of being a little thin. He may be involved a little more in the passing game than he has been previously, and he may have a prove-it year. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what.
I'm not hesitant about the receiving core, though, and I don't know why. I feel okay with it.
I am not. I'm sorry. Looking at this roster, it didn't get better from last year, in my opinion. The roster did not get better.
At the receiving core?
So, I mean, really kind of across the board. But
across the board, yeah. But the receivers, it's one thing I'm not too worried. I mean, if you let CD be your one, even there was the Mari Cooper quote the other day from the fan saying if Kellen does what and lets CD be CD and use him, CD is an easy number one. And I think he is. I think CD will be a phenomenal number one. If Gallup comes back healthy, we know what Gallup can do. We just lost Connor. But then they're already saying Jalen, what our second round pick, he's gonna be playing, gonna be starting. And if he's as good as they say, like that's a 1, 2, 3 punch. It's pretty solid.
Well, that put Jalen in the slot though, right? I mean, so
right.
Which has, I mean, in Kellen Moore's offense has been a productive position. He may be exactly what we need there. I just feel like the threats on the outside just aren't. I mean, to me, the receiving core has gotten worse, and we lost 2 huge contributors, to last year, and that's going to be missing. And so, but of course, it always comes back to the run game, right? I mean, that's really that's where like I have no questions at all on the receivers if we can, feed Zeke and get the ball rolling the way it needs to. Oh yeah, well
shit. It comes back to the run game. It comes back to the line. Being a Cowboy fan, we know that. Being a Cowboy fan, it's all about the line. Connor's trying to get back on.
Perfect.
But I mean, if you watch the Cowboys, like year in, year out, like it's welcome back.
Hey.
What do you think about the receiving core?
Man, there's a lot of talk about like this is CD's moment, CD's team. We got the people around him to build. I mean, I don't know. I'm like what Lars was saying. I like the fact that we do have Dalton Schultz, and he's able to. I mean, he is a passing tight end. That's nice. More as a passing tight end, and then more early as a blocking tight end. But that is nice. I'm not as concerned as I was 4 months ago, when all the Amari stuff and when everything started, all that started off. But man, it seemed like CD really wants to be wide receiver one, but like it seems like the team wants him to be wide receiver one, and we're not. Hopefully, Kellen isn't playing this weird, like, oh, we're trying to decide who's going to be, and we're doing we have three different wide receiver twos instead of some obvious. But I think that's been made pretty clear. And there was the interview last week that Amari Cooper had, and he was like the potential's there. It's just it just all comes down to how he's utilized. So
Yeah.
And how does Gallup come back from injury? So I think that's the other big question mark. We really won't know until training camp tomorrow, and really probably not even until the second or third game of the season. But like how Gallup comes back, and is Gallup okay being the 2 still? Is he trying to get that 1 spot? I mean,
hey, and that's probably why a big reason on draft boards on draft day that Jalen was circled. Like, hey,
yep,
probably not going to take him round 1. Like, we're going to wait because it was a deep receiving class.
Mm-hmm.
But round 2, we got to circle around Jalen, and that's probably why if Gallup isn't who Gallup has been, and maybe he becomes a 3, hopefully he doesn't just fall off, but we got another guy that can step up and fill that role. So hopefully that plays out like they have seen and what their plan is.
Yeah. I hope it works that way, but I think like there's going to be a lot of regulation on Gallup during training camp. Like same with Dak.
Right.
The only difference is we got to watch it on Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
And
I think you're right.
I'm hoping that doesn't like piss him off, and then he's like, "Oh, I mean, I don't know. You know how some of those people get, but I hope it's like you said. I hope it falls in like it's supposed to."
And you'd have to think too that they had pretty good indication that Gallup was going to be coming back like his normal stuff, where they probably wouldn't have let the other 2 receivers walk, right? I mean, like if you had any indication that that Gallup's going to come back at 80%, you may fight a little harder to keep Wilson. You may fight a little harder to keep Cooper. Like, I don't know if we would have been able to give them the money that they wanted, but
did Gallup get his extension before he got hurt?
Yes,
he did. So. Okay,
yeah,
okay, that makes more sense. I was about to say, if not, if you are worried about it, then you do go, hey, Cedric, brother, you're the guy. But that makes more sense.
I feel like that happened before.
If he got the contract before, and I kind of think so too. That makes sense. Yeah, before you hop back on, we were talking about Lars like what comes out of the run game about the receiving, like how the passing games go. But then I was like, if you're a Cowboy fan, for years, it's all about the line. I mean, if you're a football fan, you should know that. But as a Cowboy, our line is what's important. Is he froze again?
No, I'm looking at this.
But that's going to be a big deal. How good was that draft? I mean, that's going to be important.
Yeah. Or the preseason is going to be very interesting. Like I know you're not seeing the blitz packages and stuff that you're used to. Like that's the stuff that's been killing us in the offensive line. But like that's one thing to really watch preseason, which we're only like 3 weeks away from. I mean, like season's going to come fast, guys. Like it's going to hit fast. Like with training camp start, like it always blows my mind that training camp's like 3 weeks and you start doing preseason. I mean, it feels like. I feel like high school football had a longer, training camp than the NFL does. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be in football season fast, and so once the preseason games start, really watch the offensive line, and really just to even if you're looking at the backups, because injury has always been an offensive line problem for the Cowboys. Always is the injury, and so we'll have a great 5
and suspension,
and suspension, of course. A great strong 5, but not a 6 and a 7. And when you get into week 8, week 9, just praying for that bye week to get everyone healthy, and you got your 8th and 9th guy up, and on third downs and stuff like that. Like it starts getting ugly real fast. So so that's one that's exciting. Like I wish we could do Hard Knocks in Dallas every year. I loved having the behind the scenes look and all that. When HBO was there, I know it's not as true of a look into the background as you would like, but
at least a glimpse.
Still, it's a glimpse, and I'll take any extra Cowboys content I can. I love it.
Anything else on the boys? I mean, like we said, it's sneaking up. I mean.
Sneaking up fast.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. We're all adults. We know how fast that goes.
Yep.
So I mean, we'll wake up and it's gonna fucking be here. Moving on to the stars. Lars, what you got?
Oh man,
Stars. The stars. So let's hear it.
it's still a giant question mark. So much. I mean, we're kind of getting the same kind of feelings, like kind of with like the Cowboys. Like to me, like we're not getting any better yet. It feels very much of the same stars. We are right now. The biggest thing is the biggest question marks are contracts for Robertson and Ottinger. Young studs need contract extensions. They're RFAs right now. We got to get those deals done this offseason. And then we still have the Klingberg dilemma. He is not gone anywhere yet. I kind of think that those are kind of tied together. I think there are still a lot of free agents on the market. So like a lot of NHL insiders, they anticipated a long free agency, kind of period. Usually like some years everyone's gone and moved in the first 2 weeks when when the deadline opens up, but this year they're expecting just kind of a lot of moving parts, and just a lot of long-term discussions. So we got to solve the Klingberg problem as far as if we can re-sign him, which for whatever reason they've talked all through last season. They've talked most of this offseason. It is looking like he is gone, but we have really no feel for him yet. And
because Ryan Suter got his fucking money.
Exactly. The traffic cone, the actual traffic cone of Ryan Suter. That's a terrible deal. But we got new coach coming in, and he's also defensive minded. So again, that makes you think that we're going to be trying to make still a big splash in free agency with another defenseman. Our draft was primarily defensemen. Like, I mean, we've been blaming the coaches. I think it's Jim Nill. I think he loves defense more than anything, and so that's all we're going to spend our money in. That's where most of our money is tied up in. But we have to get deals for Robo. We have to get deals for Ottinger. And I think they're waiting for them to kind of see what they can play with, and then to determine like how they're going to structure the deals for those two stars, right? So the idea being that we can go out and get somebody that can take less annually and put more bonuses. Let's do that. See if we can't, or see what we can do that way, or maybe signing Robo and Ottinger, 2 deals with lower annual salary, but higher bonuses and deals that way. So I think that's why there's a holding pattern on those two. There's obviously no fear in losing them. I mean, they can't really go anywhere. They're pretty tied to us right now, but they do have to get extensions. So we do have to figure that out big time. I'm glad we didn't enter the Tkachuk sweepstakes. I think we would have lost a lot for it. He was a great player. Florida gave up quite a bit, but most
I hate him. I fucking hate him.
I mean, I get it.
Hate Matthew Tkachuk.
He's good. He's good. So, but there are other options out there, and it just really comes to what we can afford and what we can get, and still pay our young stars. So,
well, I mean that's got to be priority, right? Is Jake and Jason?
They are the priority for signings, yes, but I don't know. I really think the reason we haven't seen any movement on there is because there's still a hole they're trying to fill. I don't think that we're going to see any signings on those two until Klingberg's gone and we have another signing or two to kind of fill that gap. And they may be bottom 6 guys. That's fine, but if they have the experience and are on the power kill, like that's fine. Like I'm okay with some special team specialists. I'm fine with that. I am. Not what we want. Love Klingberg to come back still. Maybe if the market's not there, like if he can't find the money he's looking for everywhere else, he may take a team friendly deal. It may only be a 1 year, which like he's looking for a long term big money contract, and really I think long term more than even too big of money.
Right.
So but he wants to have another probably 5 years, 3 or at least probably at least 4. And I don't know if Dallas is willing to give him 4 more years for what he's asking for, annually. Especially with but you're right, Suter is eating up all the money.
Yeah. We shouldn't have any problem giving him the contract, but we fucking gave it to Suter.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, I mean, and Miro too, but again, Miro's money I think is deserved.
Right.
And he's much younger. He's a stud. Like,
Yeah,
he
that one makes sense.
But you're
The
talking about
Suter
like
the Suter one just
yeah.
kind of almost blindsided everybody. Like, whoa, what? What the
And
hell is
you
the point of
hear
this?
and you hear people, especially on Stars Twitter. If you guys are not on Stars Twitter, get on it. It is a wild ride, and
It might be the best of the 4 teams in Dallas.
I'm telling you, it's great. It's great. You cannot. I mean, the Dallas fandom for hockey was in a non-traditional, hockey state. It is pretty fervent here in the metro. So definitely jump on the old Stars Twitter feed and start following, because you're going to get, I mean, just so much passion from these fans. Like we just want to see good hockey. That's really what it comes down to. And it's there. We have so many pieces. We were making the playoffs good. We had some bad away trips, that we pieced together a lot that really kind of hurt our standings going into the playoffs. Just bad road trips. We really but like the way you combat a bad road trip is good defense, right? And that's always kind of the game changer. And really, it's your power kill. That's how you win away games. Is your PK every time. Like that's your deciding factor. Is when you are a man down in hostile territory, if you can just not give up a goal. Yeah. Like that's the biggest thing. And realistically, you don't want to be giving up shots either, but it's the goal that you're worried about. So again, if we get some special team specialists there in the trade market, see what's out there, doing some trades, but like I don't think it's worth trading the future for. We have a lot of studs in the minors right now, for lack of a better word, in the minors that are coming up, and they are offensive. And so we got to get something lined up. I think that's the other reason, kind of, to not extend Klingberg. We're trying to get some of that younger blood in there and get some more, two-way defensemen and stuff like that. So
right.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. It's the roster is, like I said, still not set, so there's still a lot of movement there, and we'll see. But yeah, Klingberg's a question mark. I think once the Klingberg issue is resolved, and then we'll start seeing the signings for Ottinger and Robo. But you got to kind of just see what you have to work with, and then bring your new pieces to those guys. And like, can we take less if we have this, or can we structure you more in bonuses than we have, here, But they're going to get. I mean, they're going to be getting 4 or 5 year deals,
Right.
Both of them. So I mean, Ottinger is the clear number one in the net. So we'll see. I mean, still, like I said, big question mark still for the Stars. Big question mark. Let's see where we're going. But something needs to happen, because we've had like 10 days of just crickets.
Yeah,
just weddings and engagements or men proposals. That's it.
I was about to say, there's a lot of rings. There's a lot of rings going around, but not the rings that we want.
Yeah, we just turned into social media stars.
Absolutely. I am all for it.
Yeah.
I mean, between the Stars taking over social media and Instagram for all the wedding photos, and taking over really, hockey Twitter for all the wedding stuff, and then having all the K-pop, with like 2 major K-pop artists that they're wearing Stars jerseys all the time. So let's do it. And like I said, grow the game, grow the brand, wherever that takes us, let's do it. But we got to get these signings soon. So again, big waiting patterns. But I think it'll all fall into place once the Klingberg decisions are made and everything else fall into place. I think they still think that. I think Jim Mill still thinks we can keep Klingberg.
And like you said earlier, I mean, if it just keeps getting drug out and nothing happens, I mean, obviously every fan base in any sport will feel that way. You feel like you lost that superstar. Like, I mean, me and Connor have talked about this for a while, even fucking since before the trade deadline, that Klingberg's gone. And the longer it gets drug out, you're like, shit, maybe there's a slight chance. Like you said, it might be a 1-year deal. But hell, maybe that turns into something more.
Right.
So that slight chance is like in All Stars fandom's heads, like maybe it does somehow work out. Hopes aren't still high, but somehow it might still work out. But I would love it to happen, but I just don't feel like it's going to. But like you said, we're probably waiting. Once he's gone, then all the dominoes are going to fall.
Yeah.
How do you feel about our signings so far?
I like the draft. I like the draft. The guys we picked up in free agency, like they'll be serviceable. That's fine. Again, there's just no game changers yet. You know what I mean? But
Right.
we're filling in holes. That's fine. None of them are costing us too much, so I'm happy with that. Like we haven't gone out and tried to haven't taken big swings. So this Suter contract is killing us. That's what it comes down to.
How much longer we got on that?
3 more years, I think.
Yeah.
It's a while. I think it's 3 more years. I think it's RFA after 3, maybe. But
at some point, do we end up dealing him because of how pissed off the fan base gets?
If you can deal him,
I don't know if anyone's going to pick that up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But do we get to the point where we make the deal, but we eat part of the contract? Where Elvis is not a Suter, but we're playing the A's right now. We're paying Elvis to play for Oakland right now because it just helped the team out better for us. Do we reach a point in the next 3 years where we're like, hey, you take his ass, we'll cover part of the contract, if not a good chunk of it. But does that end up coming up?
I'm sure.
Fucking write it out.
I don't think we can write it out now. I think because of the coaching change, we do get more leverage to where we aren't really stuck writing it out. We can have a pretty good excuse. Like, oh well, like Bones really loved this guy, and he did. His poor performance. Bones. If you ask Bones, that's the greatest hockey player we have on our team, and that's why he was always on the first line for the PKs. Always getting he was always getting outskated. He cannot enter the offensive zone. He's not an offensive threat at all. Whenever he gets the puck at the point, he's taking shots he shouldn't be taking when we got nobody in front of the net. You're talking about Pavelski, right? His greatest attribute is standing in front of the goalie and cleaning up all the mess. And you got Suter out there taking shots, while Pavs is behind the net, trying to run a play. And so if there's no one even up in front, why are you taking that shot? You should that's not what you should be doing at this point right now.
Yeah.
And he would take a shot instead of chipping it to the corner like Bones loved to do and letting the forwards go down and forecheck and take it. He would just throw it at the goalie. Okay, then he covers it. It goes to a face-off. They get a fresh line in, and now you lost all your momentum. Doesn't help anybody, So, I don't know. If we can fix the zone entry, the offensive zone entry, then Suter doesn't hurt as much. If we're not chipping and chasing anymore, which, dear baby Jesus, I hope we're not doing anymore ever again, then, maybe Suter doesn't feel that bad. I know. It's just as much as the Dallas fans loved the Stars, we did not love that style of offense. And we have the forwards to not have to do that, to not have to rely on forward checking and winning faceoffs. That's really what it was. We do have great faceoff players, with very high, winning percentages. That cannot be a game plan. That should be like a boost to your game. That shouldn't be like, oh no, just let the goalie cover it up and then we'll get the offensive faceoff.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But even the good offensive faceoff guys are still 60-something%. So that still isn't a very high average to stay in the zone. So that's the stuff that's got to change. Honestly, Suter can be serviceable. It can be, I really think that the contract won't feel so bad if we do by changing the coaches. I'm hoping we can at least hide it a little bit, and if we can take him off the first line of the PK, which Bones would not do. He changed every line. We saw 90 line changes, different makeups of the second and third line. Every game was different. Yep. PK one was the same with Suter out there every game. And until that changes, that Suter contract is going to feel bad. If you get him off the ice a little bit more and don't have him be your staple point for your PK, then I feel like at least the hatred's going to die down. And then if the hatred dies down, he may be more dealable. We'll see what happens. But I mean, it's just like when you have such a glaring weakness that everybody sees and exploits, it's hard to trade him. Like, I mean, everyone watches the tape. You can see it on the tape. I know, like, if I'm entering the zone, I know what side I'm doing it on. Yeah. And I know how fast they have to be. Because it was not hard. He got outskated all the time. Every time.
Was that in the coaching interviews? Like, the coaching, like, the ones applying for the job, like, all right, what can I do with him? Like, that had to be brought up.
It has to be. And then with us going to a defensive-minded coach in DeBoer and saying, how do you solve this problem? And I'm hoping he had the best answer, which is why he got the job.
It was all based on that one question.
I mean, in my eyes, it should be. I mean, because like that to me, that is the glaring weakness. That is, we've put too much faith in him. We have too much money tied up in him. Like, we have to solve that problem. And you have to be able to rely on young people. I mean, Harley's supposed to be a stud, but he was bottom 6 all year. He was barely getting out on PKs. And that guy was on the ice all the time, like whenever he went on 5-on-5 at equal strength, he was the one laying out in front of every shot.
Yeah.
And then doesn't get on the PK. Like, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Now, we're not in practice, so maybe there's something that we don't understand. But talking about just effort out there, like, I don't trust Suter's effort. I don't place it very high.
Yeah, I don't trust shit about him. There's so many times this year that like he was even when we're in the defensive zone, he's just not tracking the puck like
at all.
I mean, like backside forwards are dropping down, just right in front of him. No contact, no nothing. And then like even like you started to see, I'm sure as Jake Ottinger got more comfortable, like being, the one in the net, like you started to see the frustration with him. And he's like, bro, like what the hell? Like this guy just dropped from the backside and like was just able to redirect and you didn't even bump him off or nothing. Like, and there were like multiple instances of that. So there's no love lost there. I don't care what happens to Ryan Suter.
I just think that he can be managed. That's my point.
That'd be great.
I think it can be managed. I think having Bones out gives us a better chance to manage it. And I don't even care where he's at on the line. Like I'm saying, like on equal strength, it does not bother me. It really doesn't. I mean, I don't want him taking shots, but like what he likes to do, that's cool. But like, and I'm okay taking shots. Just take shots when Taz is there. Take shots when Robo's in the slot. Like that's I'm okay with that. Like we have to have forwards there for the rebound. Just don't take it because I got in the ozone. All right, I'm shooting. Like that's not a strategy. That's just sloppy. It's just sloppy.
Yeah, that's frustrating as shit, especially with like the offensive set that we have. Like you were talking about the chip and chase thing. We're all frustrated with that. Everybody was frustrated with that. But like the fact that we have a 37-year-old defenseman just fired one tease from the point when we have, the fastest skater in the league, like like that's, God damn it.
Yeah.
Marcus Semien.
We're challenging.
Fastest skater in the league. Like we have dynamic goal scorers like Tyler Sagan, Jamie Bidd, the probably, I mean, you could make the argument against Kirill, but like the most prolific rookie in the last 2 to 3 years. Like you take Cale Makar out of the deal because he's playing defense, and like Jason Robertson's probably the most talked about prospect in the last 3 to 4 years. And it's like, oh, we're coming across the blue line, just a little patty whack down there into the corner, and let's go let all of our fucking forwards just, fight with everyone. Like let's send them down there and fight with Pat Maroon in the corner. Like,
and especially late in the shift. And that's the other thing too, that like always drove me nuts about Suter. Like Haskinen's really, to me, Haskinen has such high hockey IQ is that like he's got the shot he can take from the points. But if you're late in the shift, like he's not taking that shot, he's looking for the pass because he knows you got a fresh line against a depleted line. You don't take the shot and let the goalie cover it up and get the subs out.
Right.
You make the pass. And Haskinen's O-zone entry, obviously 10 times better. That's one thing we're going to miss with Klingberg a lot too. Like, I think it's a big part of his game that was overlooked is like his zone entry as a defenseman. It's top notch. It's been good. Everyone talks about his turnovers, so you'll see that all over. About the number of earned turnovers he has, which is like 84. He had like 84, 86 turnovers last year, but like not one of them bothered me because he's making those turnovers because he's trying to make plays, and the other people aren't. Like these aren't just turnovers that he's like, a bad pass in front of the net. You know what I mean? That he's like, or missing a clear, things like that. Like his turnovers are usually going to the zone and trying to make something happen in overtime, which he was an OT hero many times for us last year. Has been his whole career. So I don't know. It's just we just need the higher IQ, the hockey IQ. You got to let the shift times kind of dictate some of that strategy, which Haskinen is very good at. And like I said, and a lot of that's going to be coaching. So the coaching change gives me hope, even though like the roster really hasn't necessarily improved yet. The experience that Ottinger had in this whole postseason and him being the clear number one, like those players are better. So even if we lose some pieces as a whole, we still might be at the same place or better just because the experience, that our studs are getting. So it only helps. What just happened?
No fucking shot, right?
So Marcus Semien got picked off, and it was a fucking good move. It was a good fucking pickoff.
No shot that
pumps him out. So we go to challenge. They show the review. He fucking gets back. But they go to review, and they just called him out still. Like, it was a damn good move. And I guess I'm about 10 seconds before Connor because I saw it, and I saw that reaction.
Fucking Steven Piscotty missed the tag. They're even standing on second base talking about it.
No, he's saying
he missed his inside arm, and he swept the out. Like when they showed the replay from the
it was a great slide.
Yeah, from the bird's eye cam, like you could see it clear as day. Like he tagged over his arm, and that like Semien got his left arm in, and then Piscotty hit like his torso. Was it
Elvis? I think it was Elvis.
Oh, was it Elvis?
Yeah, but yeah,
that's like the most obvious fucking thing I've ever that's one of those bad.
I don't like maybe live. I could see him pumping him out because it was a fucking good move, but once you saw the replay, like Semien had a good slide and like missed the tag, and they still came back and said he was out.
Oh man! Wow,
I saw it. And I knew I was before you, so I was just sitting here just waiting to see what you did.
I thought it was a no-brainer. Like, that's why I was clapping. I was like, when I saw the replay, I was like, oh, we're good.
I know. And hey, and when you clapped, I already saw the call.
Yeah, I was like, this is like 100% evident right here.
Yeah.
That's wild. Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, whatever. Good move, I guess.
It was a good fucking move, but yeah. Oh my god, it's so bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like
they just showed it again. They just came out of the commercial and showed it again. Well, y'all got anything left on the Stars for today? I don't have shit about the Mavs, so if y'all got something, shoot it out. But if not, we'll roll into the Rangers today. Because it's that time of year.
5 inches behind his arm.
That sounds like we're going to Rangers.
I love Elvis Andrews, but he's completely over.
It wasn't even close.
No.
It wasn't close at all.
Even from this view.
Yeah, none of them show him even get fucking close to tagging him before he's on the bag. We want to start with the draft.
Why have a replay if we're still going to get it wrong?
That's exactly. Hey, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck the draft. We'll get there. This is a fucking hill I'll die on. I fucking hate replaying baseball. I don't give a shit. We'd have been fucked on that call anyways. But I don't know why baseball is so pure to me. And obviously I'm a fucking baseball guy over everything. But just my opinion, I love baseball being the one sport where it's like, no, he called that. He called it. That's what it is. And it also like, you still see it every once in a while, but like my early days of being a Ranger fan, falling in love with the game, my dad taking me like, that I can remember is Buck Showalter just fucking coming out and reaming umpires' asses just back. No, fuck you. That shit was wrong. That was the worst call in the world. Like, just let them have it. See ya. Like, that is one thing great about baseball. Like hockey, you get the fights. Baseball, you get the just absolute shit talking between officials and players and coaches. Like, I love that. I don't know why. I've always been, and it might be the purist in me, I like the umpire making the call. That's what they've been trained to do. They've went through a whole system of classes to minor league system getting called up just like the players do to get to this stage. So we trust you to be right. Granted, it's a hard fucking job. Hell, it's hard to – I fucking umpired 12-year-old softball before, and I hated it. But I'm not signing up to be the big leaguer. That's you. So if you sign up for that job, guess what? You get your ass chewed. I missed that part about the replay system. And even there, I think Woody should have got out there. But I do not like replay in baseball, but that's just me. I fucking hate it. Every other sport, I get it. But baseball, it's not a time sport. It's completely different than every other sport out there. So why bring that in with the rest of the shit? And we still get it wrong.
That's the weird part to me. It's like, I mean, we're all the same generation. Like, we've all, up until like 2 years ago, like, we've all grown up watching all the dynamic plays in baseball be made, like, just based off of judgment, all the things. And has it sucked? Yes. But there's not one single baseball fan that hasn't been screwed by a call. Yeah. At some point, like, it's not just like the Rangers are just sitting out here like, oh my God, we get hosed on every call. Like, no, it's like that common denominator in baseball. Like, that's, I'm definitely, like, I'm with you on that. And like, and then if we are going to implement like the replay and the challenge, like, we like at least get it right. Cause then we look even stupider. Like, this is going to be the laughing stock of any type of baseball Twitter. Like, John Boy starting 9, anything is going to post that and be like, well, the fucking MLB still sucks because of shit like this.
And it's true. 5 minutes to replay that, and we still fuck.
Yeah. And the officials are like, they're like putting in their ear, like, we were making fun of at the beginning of the whole season. Everybody on baseball social media was like, some of these guys have been doing like the Angel Hernandez's, the Joe West, like, they were doing this shit for 30 years. Like, they don't even know how to flip on a microphone. And they're just like, runner was out. Coach didn't like it. Someone's talking in my ear about what to tell you guys next. Yeah. And it's like,
repeat after me.
It's just, it's like freaking, Joe Biden reading the teleprompter again. Like, it's just,
repeat statement.
Yeah. So, like, I'm with you on that. Like, that shit does take away, and I do think it takes away like that situation with Woody. Like, if they call that out and there's no replay, like, you're right. Like, a Buck Showalter, or
he's not stopping to do this.
Yeah,
he's
Terry
fucking
Francona
beelining out to second base.
Right. Even Banny, like, if you got Banny or Terry Francona or somebody like that, like, they're never even once thinking, they're not even looking back to the bench coach, you know, and being like, hey, should we review that? Like, fuck, their mind's made up. Like, they're on their way there. As soon as
that happens, they're fucking they're fucking sprinting out there.
So I do hate, I already think that Chris Woodward, like, moves that needle in the wrong direction anyways, because he's like, he doesn't get as emotional as I wish he would. But I do hate that, like, in general, does move like the dynamic, because there's just that baseball feel to it. Like, and I think it's one of those things like you can't describe to someone who's not a baseball fan. If you don't like baseball, like, you don't give a shit if someone got thrown out on a close play at the plate, or you don't give a shit about, you know, whatever happened. But I mean, I could definitely get on board with like we're not in any hurry. whether believe it or not, like there is no aspect to a baseball game that's like, okay, well, we're out of time now. Like you grow up at
And
12.
that argument is going to take just as long as that review.
Right.
And
Right.
that argument is going to be 10 times more exciting for everybody involved. Even like us right there. We're the Ranger fans. We're fucking pissed. But there is something about that pride, being proud of your manager out there just reaming that umpire's ass. If we get it wrong, fuck it. But he's letting him have it. Like, there's that pride in there. Like, okay, if we waste 5 minutes, I'm not even thinking about the time that we just lost. Because I enjoyed it.
That's the same dynamic as like fighting in hockey. Like, I mean, reason that like the PA in the NHL is like, nope. Like, well, we will keep regulating how you can fight. Like, you know, you have to drop your gloves once someone goes to the ground. Like, we'll keep regulating that, but there's no way that we can afford fighting out of hockey. You can take someone who doesn't even like hockey and they go to, like, you're like, hey, we're going to go to a hockey game. They're like, fuck, I hope people fight.
That's
like,
their first.
Do you know who any of these people
a non-hockey fan, that's their first statement.
Yeah.
But with the replay in baseball, like my biggest thing with the replay in baseball, like I'm fine the regular season not having it because there's 162 games. So nobody cares, right? If you miss the call, you're going to get your call back. Like your 1 game, 2 game, your 4 or 5 calls, whatever. Like that's going to, law of averages, you're going to get a call, you're going to miss a call, it's fine. Postseason, it has to be there, I think, because it is too, like when you're talking about 1 game series to get into the postseason or not, talking about best of 3, which is stupid, but that we still do in baseball. We have the longest regular season and the shortest postseason. It makes 0 sense. Baseball needs to change that. Should have changed it all 7 like the NBA did, and straight across the board. But it's got to be right in the playoffs. And I'm fine with the regular season not taking the time. That's cool. But like in the postseason when everyone's watching, then yeah, let it take the extra time. And to me, this shouldn't be done by the people on the field, because when you talk about the pride of the manager, those umpires have pride too. And you talk about trying to get Angel Hernandez to go and admit he was wrong and flip his own call. That's not happening. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
He'll watch that replay and come out and be like, of course I was right.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's clearly wrong. Nah, I don't think so. Okay, cool. Like that doesn't help anybody, right? So then it's wrong. They're reviewed, and then there's something about the system being wrong and the umpire being wrong, and then the wrong team getting screwed. To me, for the sport of baseball, that's not good for anybody, especially in the playoffs. So I'm all for in regular season. You got 162 games. You're going to get some calls. You're going to lose some calls or whatever. Like that call didn't cost your season. In the NFL, it can. You know, you're talking about such a small sample size, a missed call, a touchdown you should have got, you know, in week 3 may have cost you the wild card spot, you know, 15 games, 12 games later. So, like, I understand, like, I think that it is more important in other sports, especially in the regular season. But, like, in baseball, I'm okay with it going away in the regular season, but it's got to be there in the playoffs. And the focus should be getting the call right. And if it takes more time, it should. But, like, if you watch other sports, it doesn't take long to get a call right. There's no reason that umpire needs to leave the field to go look at something. It's absurd. There should be somebody in a box. They should have a replay official at every ballpark, or at least have one person that runs it for everywhere that is making those calls that's not involved in the game. And that's how you do it. If you are any cricket fans out there, that's how they do it. Like in cricket, sometimes they don't even make the call.
Because they have I mean, obviously all of our sports don't fucking do that, but they do have people who are in New York, and the way they do it is so, like, boom, challenge. They start, like, umpire immediately pages New York. And these guys aren't watching the game. It could be the 9th inning, but they don't know how the game's been called, who's been favored, who's got screwed, what the fuck ever. But then it's just, they just get to see the play. And so they just call it off the play. No matter who's playing, who's umpiring, how the game's been called. Like if someone's been favored the whole night, they just see the play like, this is what it is. But somehow they fucked that one up.
Does the umpire need to leave the field?
No, hell no.
I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, cricket puts a 60-second clock on it, and everybody in the stadium and the umpires watch the video board to see what the call was.
That's another thing.
Like they put the call up on the video board and they just say out or not out. That's it. That's all they list, and then that's it. You go with it. And they literally, it's a 60-second clock. is handled in 1 minute. Everyone finds out at the same time. Baseball has to do a pomp and circumstance and walk off the field and put on the headset and grab a microphone and make a call, and it's just too much shenanigans.
There shouldn't be any
for outer
explanation. Like football, I kind of get it, but like baseball, like
Boom ball.
did you tag the
Boom ball,
motherfucker
kid.
before he touched the bag or not? You know
Right.
he's out. You know he's safe. Like there's no explanation needed. That part I do agree with. Like if we do have replays, you shouldn't have to come out and mic up. I think it's kind of funny listening to them sometimes.
It's hilarious watching them struggle with technology.
Yeah,
unfortunate.
but like it shouldn't be. You don't need that. I mean, was the ball caught before he got to the bag? Yeah, some shit like that. He's out or he's safe. You fucking saw the replay.
Yeah.
But you
I
don't
think
need all
I think what we should do is just force the umpires to text why it's out or safe and just watch the mayhem.
Twitter, they got to tweet every fucking time there's a review.
Yeah.
They got to tweet out their explanation.
That would be entertaining to watch these old men just fiddle fumble with technology.
Oh shit. All right. Well, we'll move a little bit along. So we had the draft. We took Kumar Rocker number 3. Who wants to go? I mean, I can go if y'all want me to, but anybody want to step up to the plate?
Do it.
Fuck
Go
it.
ahead.
I did not, out of the gate, I did not love it. Like when it was announced, actually I believe it was a Jeff Passan fucking tweet that was like, what was it? Drew Jones went to the Diamondbacks at 2. Right after that pick, I believe it was Jeff, he tweets and is like, there's speculation Kumar is going to go higher than everybody thinks. I'm like, it ain't us. It's not us. Kumar, off the board. My first thought was, what the fuck? Because Elijah Green has this super fucking high ceiling. And also there was Tamar Johnson. But Elijah was the guy that I'm just staring at. If I was hoping, Baltimore has had a past history of taking under slot guys for their draft picks. I was like, maybe they pass on a Jackson or a Drew. Then obviously Arizona takes one home. We get the other one. That was my hope. They go 1-2. Then we end up taking Kumar. It wasn't my favorite fucking thing in the world. Took me a little bit to relax, a couple days. Actually, really just the next day, because then it turns into we lost our second and third round pick for the Seager and Simeon signings. So our next pick was in the 4th round. We signed Kumar because he's not rated that high at under slot value. So say he's worth $7 million, he got like 5. Now our 4th round pick, we get another first round. I believe he was ranked 11th as his draft
11th.
prospect.
Yeah, he's 11th.
We get this fucker in the 4th round, who is the highest rated high school pitcher and possibly the highest rated fucking pitcher in the draft in the 4th round. Now, that's where the play comes in. JD and Chris fucking playing chess instead of checkers. Now, you take this 4th round guy, his slot value, say, I haven't seen it, but say it's $2 million. Now you can offer him 4 because you save that $2 million on Kumar.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just got 2 first-round pitchers with a 1st and a 4th round pick. And it was absolutely wild, which also in turn with the Kumar pick, Chris came out right after, obviously had an interview, and said, we know everybody's worried about the medical issues. That's why he didn't have to deal with the Mets last year at 10th overall. They've talked with doctors over and over and over. We are good. Obviously, if we're picking him at 3, we are okay with his medical records. So now you got a guy who is very, very close to big league ready. Obviously, we're on the verge of being a playoff World Series contender. So here in the future now, Porter might take a little bit longer to show up being a high schooler, 4th round. May take a little bit. But now We got John Gray for at least 3 more years. We got Kumar who could be there quick. We got Cole Winn who could be there quick. We got Jack Leiter that could be there quick. We got a solid stall of arms ready to fucking go. So at first, I did not love it because Elijah, his potential is fucking outrageous. But for us to go win and win soon, also while snagging Brock Porter in the 4th when he should have been a first rounder, is fucking phenomenal. So I didn't like it.
To me, well, with the draft, it kind of showed to me that like this isn't a 4-year project for the Rangers. This is a next year project for the Rangers, and that gives me hope, right? Because it's hard for me to get on board rebuilding for half a decade. So be a little more aggressive and get someone that's a little closer to being ready now. Our 4th round pickup was a steal. I think you're right. Like, we're not going to see him next year, but like it's still get him in the system. Develop them. I'm all for it. But yes, I think getting Rocker makes me feel like we're contending next year, or at least going to try to get there. And pitching is the weakness. I'm glad we went pitcher. I mean, we should be focusing on in the offseason pitching. But it tells me that it's more of a now or a near future pick, which is exciting. Which we should all be excited. We made big moves last offseason. And we still, even with the big moves we made, you guys have been saying this whole year, it's not for this year, it's for next year. And the picks are going that direction as well. So that gets me hope, or it gets me excited. It gets me excited for, like, we're trying to make this happen now and not wait until we're 4 years into Seager's contract to finally get a pitcher that can go 6 innings.
Right.
I mean, we don't have that now. So I don't want to waste all that. All those bats on, giving up five runs an inning every game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I mean, and like you just said, like Chris has already came out and said priority this offseason is pitching, and we actually had more money in the bank last year.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't want to just put all our eggs in one basket. If it wasn't the right fit, it wasn't the right fit. So now this year we still have extra money, and we're gonna have money coming off the books. Like I said, Elvis. We're paying Elvis right now like $14 million or some shit to pay in Oakland. That's going to be off the books next year. So we're going to have a lot more money to spend again. We go get a big, strong arm to lead the way, and I'm probably going to say it until he goes somewhere, that I pray that it's Jacob deGrom. But
not happening. No way.
Fuck it. Give him all the money. I don't want another fucking signing. But you go get a strong ace, a strong number 1, and it doesn't have to be deGrom. If it happens, I'm fucking the happiest guy in the world. But you go get a strong ace, and then at some point next year, you should see whoever you just signed as an ace, a John Gray, a Jack Leiter, Kumar Rocker, and a Cole Winn. That 1 through 5 is fucking glorious. And then obviously, but and then now we've talked about it all year. Our bullpen's trash. It sucks so bad. Now, okay, Dane Dunning. We've seen you give us a couple innings. Taylor Herndon, you can get us a couple innings. You can't go 5. Glenn Otto, Spencer Howard. Now you guys, I just want you to get me an inning or 2. So now these guys who can perform for a little bit, and I mean, they're young too, those guys. We have our 1 through 5 who are just fucking workhorses. Have those guys shut the door for you and get somebody that can just close. Our pitching's ridiculous. And then now our fucking we know what our offense can do. Hell, we're lighting it up right now. It's 7-0 with 8-0 with the 1st and 3rd and the fucking 5th.
I wouldn't hate moving Hearn to like a long middle reliever. Like I'm fine with that.
So now you have that possibility.
Yeah, give me 3 innings. Give me 2. Yeah. I'm down for that. But I still think we're a couple years away from that still. I'm seeing Rocker and Leiter in starting 5 rotation. But
24, we're pushing. 24, we're going. Next year, I plan on being in the playoffs. I think
we'll be in the playoffs next year if we get some free agent side. We get some arms in free agency, and that'll help. That'll help big time.
But 24, it's fucking all or nothing. It's time to go.
Yeah.
And it'll be beautiful.
Which is why it's important we're going to go get those big arms this offseason. We're buying them, not trading for them. We can't be losing a bunch of prospects just to try to get the arms. Then we're
I don't see us trading for pitching. I
hope not.
I hope not also. That's one day I'll be fucking pissed.
It happens all the time. That's what I'm saying. Like it wouldn't surprise me.
And that's what's halfway nice about like the Brock Porter signing. Like he's such a high rated prospect in the draft. He was 11th. We got him in the 4th. If we pay him that extra money, convince him to not go to college to come join us. If he's 17, 18 years old, whatever it is, he's coming out of high school. He's probably a few years out. So say 24, 25, we're making a push. He may not still be big league ready, but he may be a top prospect. Boom, trade piece. So I love that. I love that pick. But it's coming. The time is coming for Ranger fans. Like, we are making the right fucking moves. Connor, you got anything on the draft before we dabble in the next conversation?
Yes, I have a lot on the draft. I'm very excited about this conversation. Favorite thing, one, I was also very initially scared. And then when I realized we got Brock Porter, like you said, it's very exciting to me of the slot pay. Then I started looking at it pretty much what you hit on, like essentially what we got is Kumar after a year system. Like that's what we got. Like the Mets did last year. He rehabbed. He didn't do a lot of like actual credited statistical work, but I think he still got a lot of shit done. Obviously following that, and they're like, all right, you know what? We're essentially going to pick up a guy this year, and he's already had some work done out of college. Cool. That works. Same thing with the Brock thing. Like you said, with the money, like a first round guy in the 4th round. And he's much more with this because we could throw more money at it. We could say, hey, here's your slot value. We know you think you're a first rounder. We can give you more money than what this slot value is. And there's no need for you to, pull your name, cost us this, and come back and try to get redrafted this year. Like we're good with it. Other thing to me that I think this year has driven this whole thing is Josh Smith, Brad Miller, and this Tavares. That's the biggest one to me. I think Tavares is not batting 350 plus over the last weeks and having the season that he's having, and these elite type prospects and players, Brad Miller, Josh Smith, even Eli White before the injury, like then maybe we are looking towards an outfielder. Maybe then we are looking more towards Elijah or something like that. But I think early season, they said, we have the bodies there. Have these people that are playing. Ideally, Josh Jung is going to be a franchise third baseman. We know that. That's what we're hoping for. Until we Josh Smith is playing great at third base. Ezekiel Duran is playing great at third base. If you want to really get down into it, I have a crazy hypothesis that like we're going to keep just re-extending Cole Calhoun on 1-year deals just to be a utility outfielder. Like he's going to be the Brett Gardner of the Texas Rangers.
I don't hate keeping him around.
I do. I would rather keep him around on a year-by-year basis for low money and then make a move with one of these prospects if we need to in the future. Because I think like he really likes this. Like he's got some sort of like a leadership role. He's batting middle lineup. Like he's honestly playing, some of the best baseball he's played in the last couple years. And he can play. We're never going to need him to play center field. He can play either side of the outfield. He doesn't have a problem with it. I mean, he's a gritty dude. And I seriously think like we just keep doing a year-by-year thing with him. It's a mutual understanding. he's like, hey, you know, I'm up in my 30s. Whatever, you know, this ski, the lights on, I still get to play ball, and I'm giving you guys something. Like, I think that was probably from what we know, JD, and then throw in like the mind that Chris Young seems to have into it. I think there was a lot of scheming from like early season when they started to see some of these prospects and utility men. They were like, you know what? Let's go hit pitching this year. Let's hit pitching this year. We're confident in the process we have. We have some older, younger utility guys that we can use, and Brad Miller, Cole Calhoun. We can always bring them back for, you know, pennies on the dollar. So I think I was initially the same about Kumar. Like, what a fuck. Man, you know, all the shit with the Mets last year, blah blah blah, and his injury, and then started thinking about it even before the 4th round pick, and then we picked up. I wasn't even tracking that Brock was still even on the board in the round. Like I had got lost in the Arkansas and all the stuff going on there, and work and sleep, and then I was like, whoa, hold on, and I was like, maybe there's a different Brock Porter in the draft, something like that. I'm not thinking right, but yeah, he was like the number 1 pitching prospect. So I don't know. I think it's one of those weird things, and I think that. I don't know. I think that like JD and Chris Young have this weird, like they just sit in the office sometimes and just like close all the doors and smoke a cigar. And they're like, check out this weird shit we're about to do. And no one's going to see it coming.
Yeah.
Like we're about to make 17 left turns.
A year ago, who would have thought one team would have ended up with Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker?
You couldn't have. They were 3 pitching prospects in last year's draft.
Yeah. Nobody would have fucking guessed that.
Yeah.
And now we're the guys with them.
Yeah. Yeah. So you couldn't have thought that. And I mean, that's even the shock from big baseball when like that was all you saw was Jack Leiter and Kumar are back. They're back together again, you know.
Reunited.
Kumar's got
so good.
Yeah, like Kumar's got the strikeout, you know, no hitter under his belt. And I mean, he's a good pitcher. There was probably a lot of shit that went by the wayside last year because of the draft and the injury, and it's such a huge deal. Like, oh, the number. I guess last year he was 3 he would have been the 3rd prospect because homie had a Heritage Hall.
Yeah.
But that's still just crazy to just be like, oh yeah, by the way, like we have two years later after they.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like some magical reunited shit like, you know, later down the road.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they've both done rookie contracts, and you know, this is like
they're both about to grow together.
Yeah, and I think maybe just to get him a little bit of time, we'll see Kumar just like, you know, roll through Hickory and down east. But I think he'll be in Frisco real quick. There's no reason for it not to be.
Oh yeah, it's July 24th. I think Kumar's in Frisco before the year's over.
Yeah. There's no reason not to be. So
may take a weekend trip to go watch them with their back-to-back nights.
Yeah, for sure.
Trade deadline coming up. Yeah, we're like 6 games out of the fucking 3rd wild card spot. If we buy, they already said we're buying for the future. We're not getting any rentals. I don't know, and they've already hinted if it is, it'll probably be pitching. We've talked about Soto off the fucking air. That's been nipped in the bud. We're really not contenders on that. I was the one of the 3 that was kind of on board with it if it happened. But at the same time, I am not upset with it not happening because we are rolling in the right direction. We got so many pieces working so well. We don't need him. I was just the one that wasn't upset if we got him. Granted, it was going to cost a lot, but dude's a fucking freak. But that's been nipped in the bud. We're not going to pursue him. They're already saying that. If we do, we're buying. If we're buying at all, we're buying for pitching for the future. So really, I don't even know if that happens, but let's lean towards what is more realistic. The one that blows my mind is Martin Perez is an all-star, having a great fucking year. He's a free agent at the end of the year. They're already saying we're trying to talk extension with him. And that doesn't make any sense to me. He's like a 10-year vet, low 30s. He's just now like having the year of his life. Like he doesn't have much more after this. And we've actually seen it the past couple starts. He's having a great start today. But the past couple starts before the All-Star break, he's kind of fell off. Like his value is fucking high. Right now is the time to deal him. I would if it's me, I'm dealing him after this fucking game before his next start. Because I don't want him to drop. But we're talking about extending him. He's granted he's been our ace this year. He's been fucking phenomenal. But that's not a guy to rely on year in, year out. It's taking him this long to hit this peak. It's not gonna last. So why not trade him to a contender that needs an extra arm and go get an extra arm in return that's almost big league ready, where next year, the year after, when we get all those guys we just talked about going, whether this prospect we get in return as a starter ends up a reliever, a closer, go get somebody to help us in the future. Martin Perez, I may eat fucking crow, but I'm 99% confident that I will not. That Martin Perez is not going to be a key factor when we are pushing for a World Series championship. So why not right now, while he has some value, go get somebody in return? But we're talking extension, and then we're saying that we don't even have extension talks. We haven't found a common ground.
Yeah, I don't think there's a common ground. Like my thing, the extension makes sense. You're talking about 1 to 2 years. I think anything past 2 years, I'm with you. Doesn't really make sense extending. And to have him kind of just be that kind of gap for these young guys that come in, right? I mean, you have somebody else with a little bit more experience. You got a 10-year veteran, who's seen a lot on the mound, kind of keep that in your rotation, have him be, pitching third or whatever, right? Like having 3 in the rotation, that's fine. If we go get the ace, keep Sonny Gray the ace, keep that we get this offseason. Yeah, Martin Perez, and you got the young guys coming up. But yeah, if you're talking about like long-term deal for Perez, to me, you have to know what Perez is looking for before you decide to trade him. And so if you haven't had those extension talks, then you got to get rid of him, right? Like,
if it's cheap. If it's cheap.
I'm even okay if it's not cheap, but short. You know what I mean? Like if you're talking 1 or 2 years at $5 million a year, still don't hate that.
I don't love it either, though.
No,
but this is the 1 year in his career he's really been a $5 million pitcher.
Yeah,
and like after 10 years, we really think he's just going to get better. So I mean, if we get him cheap, like hey, and okay, I'll give $5 million the max.
Right? Yeah.
Like I'm not giving you $6 million a year. There's no fucking way.
No, but I'm saying like we have to have the talks to find out if that's even entertainable. Because my thing is if he's talking he wants 5 years, to me if he says he's looking for 5 years, like we're trading him. If he says he's looking for $6 or $7 million a year, we're trading him. Like I mean, my thing is like you have to have a starting point. Like hey, where are you at? Because like I'm okay not having the extension talks. That's fine. Like as far as like let's not bring to the table a bunch of different contracts. But like let me just feel you out a little bit and see what you're looking for. And my thing is that if he's looking for $6 or $7 million a year on a 5-year deal or whatever, like no, you got to trade him, and you got to trade him, and you have to be willing to take a little bit less for him too, because you're going to get nothing for him, and he's a UFA anyway, right?
Exactly.
So even if you could just pick, so like if an extension is not possible or extension seems kind of absurd, then you got to get rid of them. There's no point. I guess we're not far out of the wild card, but it's not looking good for us.
Exactly.
We lost against like every game against the Orioles. We're losing the A's. But which the Orioles might be the best team in the AL East right now, but it's just hard to lose the Orioles. They get swept by the Orioles and just be like, oh yeah, no, we're in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard for both things to happen.
Like, are we really going to go in and beat the Astros in a 7-game series, beat the Yankees in a 7-game series? Like, is that literally going to fucking happen? All the stars better be aligned.
I mean, are we okay just getting the playoffs? I mean, like, is it worth getting to the playoffs, right? Because, like, in hockey terms and in NFL terms, getting to playoffs is a lot. You know, like, that's the goal. You know what I mean? Because once you get there, anything can happen. Game changes. Like, it's a whole new ball game. And to me, baseball is even more like that because the postseason is nothing like the regular season.
Yeah.
If we can sneak into a wild card and get a good pitching matchup, or have Garcia go off, on a random play, or have another 9th inning comeback like we seem to do often. Like, if we can find ourselves in that position to start getting kind of deep into the playoffs, then that may be worth it. As far as, like, again, I still don't know how I feel about buying right now,
I'm out on buying, but they've mentioned it.
Right.
Which, like I said, they've mentioned buying for the future. They're not buying a guy just to be a rental for this year.
Right.
But I'm out on buying it all because we have the money this offseason to spend. So why the fuck would we give up prospects to buy somebody? Then we're gonna have to extend. Why not go after?
It really is if you're trying to get in the playoffs, right? Like, if you think 6 games out of the wild card, you have a chance of getting to the playoffs, which if we catch a streak like Seattle's on, we're not far away. It's likely. If we can start winning two out of the, or 2 games of these 3-game series we have coming up, we're on a like 4-month road trip right now. But like, by the time, like, if we can come home at 500 and we get back home at 500, well, I feel like it's a little different story. And you're going to need Perez for that push, and then you maybe risk not trying to get the future prospect because, of course, like, my thing is if we're not sitting at 500 by the trade deadline, you got to sell them. There's nothing to salvage for the year, and there's nothing to worry. I mean, there's just, and if his extensions if he's talking too much money for extensions, you just got to get rid of him. If he wants to take a team deal, and if he likes it here, in Dallas.
Yeah, if it's team friendly, it makes sense.
Yeah,
but if it's not team friendly at all,
it's got to be a short term. It's got to be a short term extension. So I don't like anything more than 3 years. I don't even like anything at 3 years. Like,
if it's not team friendly, I don't want to make it to the end of the year. Like, fuck it, off season. Like, you got to be dealt. You have some value. Give me something in return because we are maybe lucky next year, but 2-3 years from being a legit fucking powerhouse, a contender. Like, give me something that's going to help me actually solidify us being a World Series champion contender. Because this year, granted, I would love to make the playoffs. That's awesome. You never know what'll happen in the playoffs. But are we really – baseball's fucking wild. The sports are wild. It could happen. But it's obviously – odds are not in our favor to actually go win this year.
Right.
So fucking build, sell – get something in return where in 2-3 years, maybe even next year, we actually have a damn good chance of going and competing. So if it's not team friendly, like you said, you got to fucking trade him.
Yeah.
If not, we talked about it. You're going to end up with a fucking Klingberg situation where, granted, I didn't want to trade him, but at the same time, if you're not going to re-sign him, get something to build on later.
But again, in the Stars case, we didn't trade Klingberg, and we made the playoffs because of it. Like, to me, I think I don't see this. I don't see the Stars in the playoffs this year if we dealt Klingberg.
Right.
At the trade, I mean, regardless of the pieces that we got for him, I think we would have made the playoffs. And my thing is that if we didn't make the playoffs, we wouldn't see Ottinger in his prime.
Right.
But like that playoff series against Calgary that should not have went 7. That every single sports writer in America and Canada chose to be done, most of them in 5, and the rest in 6. Never supposed to go to Game 7, and to watch the performances that old Jakey had against one of the best forwards in the league, and Kachuk, and just 60 saves a game. Like you don't get that performance unless you're in the playoffs.
Right.
You don't get that glimpse of greatness unless you're in the playoffs. And so you have to get there to see that. And baseball's different. I get it.
It is.
It's a lot different because it's still the same.
But it sucks because we're really not a fucking contender at all. And so why the hell would we even ride this thing out when we know he has value?
Yeah.
Like, we know we're at minimum next year, but we're probably 2 to 3 years out from really – we're 2 years out from really contending. So why not take that piece that you can get from Perez that's going to help you build and really make you even stronger at that point? I do not – and I've had a lot of faith in John Daniels for years. I'm one of the few that has rode with him when he's got a lot of fucking slander. Chris has been phenomenal since he's been there, but I'm on board with him. Like, I've had a lot of faith in him. This is like the first time really that I'm like, why? Why are we even trying to do this? I just don't understand it. Like, he's older. He's not going to get better. So why not get a piece, let him go compete for a World Series title? Why not get a piece in return that's going to help us in a year or 2 or 3 really go help us go win? That's the only thing I do not fucking understand. Unless Perez is like some fucking god or something all of a sudden.
No.
I just don't fucking get it. Matt Moore, got to be gone. Got to get return on that. But I mean, that's the main two that's going to be on the selling block. And you never know. Baseball's wild. Well, sports are wild, but baseball is definitely wild. Trade deadline, it's always exciting. You never know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fuck, we could see somebody else go and we not even be prepared for it. But if y'all got any more trade talk, that's about all I had on that. Was Moore's got to be gone, and the Perez shit is just blowing my mind.
Yeah. We got to deal him or get a team-friendly deal and spend the options. I just don't see us being at 500 at the trade deadline.
No. Like I said, it's got to be team friendly. If it's not team friendly, you got to fucking get rid of him. I'll go to that. My Texas Heat, it's Chris Young and John Daniels because of that, literally in itself. If it's not team friendly, you got to get rid of Perez. Like, you can't just ride that out. He has too much value right now to help us build for the future in a couple years. Like, you have to get rid of him. So, JD and CY, that's my Texas Heat this week.
Connor?
Me, I'm probably going to go a little off the cuff just because we're talking about warming it up. A lot of hype around him. Just spice it up. I'm going to go Zeke. He's had 2 bad years relative to him. So we got football around the corner. There's a lot of talk about how he's down. It's the best weight he's ever been. Still has the most rushing yards since 2013. And he wasn't even drafted until 3 years later. So it's definitely a performer. He's been well below par the last 2 years. We start working towards football, and it's a real low key type hot seat. See how OTAs and stuff go with him. What every Cowboys fan wants to know, like, see if he's going to live up to anywhere close to this contract thing that we, sold the whole farm for. So
yeah, we all begged them not to do.
Yeah.
My Texas Heat's got to be Jim Nill. Of course, talked about it in the Stars section portion. We got to get, like I said, I think the deals will come for Robo and Onger, but we got to get those deals happening. Got to figure out the Klingberg situation, and we got to feel better going into this preseason, which is also right around the corner, and to just feel like we have the right pieces in place. Having another defensive coach hire, it's gonna be a hard sell for this fan base when you have such young studs for forwards. We have so many scoring stars down on the Texas Stars, down in the OHL that are just a lot of the prospects we have coming up that are very, very good and very offensive minded, and to hire another defensive coach that's a hard sell. So it's you got to see that pan out. Now, the bright side is DeBoer's first year with a new team is always his best year. So look for good things and then see what happens. But, yeah, we got to get those contracts for them figured out, and got to have this coaching hire work out for old Jim Neal.
Is that your Lone Star too? Is for DeBoer's first hot year?
Yeah. That's my Lone Star. My Lone Star is DeBoer's first year because he's always the best. We'll probably make it to the Stanley Cup Finals this year, and then next 3 years we'll struggle to make the playoffs, and then we'll get rid of him, and by then all our talent will age out, and we'll start a rebuild. So it's really exciting.
We know the future
for the first year. Yeah, we know the future. But yes, for the old Lone Star, it's got to be DeBoer's first year because it's always stellar when he comes in. So.
I like it.
Good for us.
I'm gonna go Josh Smith. Man, he's a fucking gamer.
That's why I love Cole Calhoun right there.
Yes, yeah. And I was actually about to hit on that because Josh Smith is such a gamer. He doesn't have that veteran name tag to him yet, like Cole does, but they both have that grit. They both play balls to the wall. They don't give a shit where they go. We know Josh Jung is going to be our third baseman. Josh Smith is going to be a big leaguer. He's going to be our left fielder eventually. We know what's going to happen. Don't be shocked if that's our opening day left fielder next year because Josh Smith wants to be on the field, and he fucking plays lights out. He's not a big power guy, but he does his job to get on base. He's a hell of a defender. So he reminds me a lot of a Cole Calhoun, who, granted, Cole's left-handed in the outfield. Josh has been a shortstop his whole life, but he's going to be a left fielder. He doesn't have a spot in the infield, but he's going to be a key piece to this team. So he has that grit to him, plays balls to the wall. He's going to lay his fucking body out. He's going to go 110% every chance he gets, just like Cole does. And I love him being around Cole because Cole and him are having those conversations. Hey, these are the times you may reel it back. You don't reel it back often, but this might be the time. But Cole is training this kid to be the epitome of a baseball player. That's just what he is. You look up the definition of a fucking ball player. Cole Calhoun, Josh Smith, those are the guys you will think of. Josh Smith will be thought of a Cole Calhoun one day. He's not hitting 40 bombs a year, but he's playing 110% day in, day out. He's been a shortstop his whole life. He's going to end up being our starting left fielder just because he wants to contribute, he wants to play, he wants to win. And I cannot fucking wait. This dude plays balls to the wall constantly. Just gives us his all. And shit, my fucking Texas Heat, fucking Chris and JD, thanks for that trade last year with Joey because that was phenomenal. But Josh Smith is my fucking Lone Star because this dude is a straight baller.
Yeah. I'm stick to the same narrative, prospectus type guys. Leote, man. We talked about it last time. He came up, he went back down. Chris Wood. It's nothing personal. He still needs some time. Next time we bring him up, we want it to be the last time. We don't want to keep shipping him back and forth, blah, blah, blah. The
old Chris Davis treatment.
Yeah.
Bring him up for 10 days, set him down
Yeah.
for 10 days.
Yeah. And so he worked out the kinks. I mean, he's in the last 10 games, he's batting after today almost 400, like 398. He's starting days like 326 on the season. So is he staying? Are we going to build a franchise around him? No, probably not. But I mean, he's a pivotal part of what we're doing over the next 2 years. So, and the fact, like, if he keeps performing like this, then yeah, we're going to be he's going to get solid minutes. He's going to be able, at the very least, to use us to improve his own stock, which is probably what a lot of these younger guys are going to do. Like, we hope we hold on to Josh Smith, and then Josh Jung staying, Ezekiel Duran, even. I mean, we've talked about Jonah Heim is doing that right now. If something works out in the future, we decide not to keep Jonah Heim, like, he's been using us as a building block for his own stock. So that's actually, a key part of baseball. Like we talk about that, we hit on it sometimes. So that's where I think Leote's heading. I think it's great. He just did. I mean, we're not going to contend this year, but at least I'm out of the deal.
Right.
Good for him, because we've seen him up and down like 3 times now, and it's been frustrating. Like last time he was up, he was batting low hundreds. Like, his plate appearances, he wasn't pitches, and now he's just completely turned that around. So shout out to him.
I like it.
Love it. Love it.
Well, shit. We will see y'all next week, unless we got something to wrap up. But I think we pretty much covered it all.
Got it all back on schedule.
Yeah.
Next week is
That was a good recap of the full hiatus.
Yeah.
So next week it'll be just week of events.
Oh,
getting
yeah.
it out.
We're just getting started, like we always said. Fucking, you got ideas, thoughts, questions, shoot them our way. Social medias, run all of them. We'll hit them. So appreciate the love. We'll see y'all next week. Shit. I don't even know where the fucking stop recording is.